Well, I was always fascinated, at first fascinated by a theater. Probably because my brother, who is 12 years older than I am, and before the war I saw only two films, Snow White and, strangely enough, a silent version of the Czech most popular opera. Then I didn't see any films until I was 13 years old because nobody would give me money to go and see Nazi propaganda type movies, But in that time, my older brother was already working as a set designer in a small touring company of operettas. And every time this operetta came to a town where I was living at the time, I was allowed to spend the evenings backstage with my brother. And that was fascinating for me, the life backstage, to smell all the makeup and to see all this glamorous soubrettas and everything. And so I wanted to enter the drama school to become a theater director, but I was not accepted there. And out of desperation, more or less, so that I don't have to go into military service, I applied to a film school. The only opening was at the category for screenwriters, and fortunately I was accepted there. Well, I started my first film concourse, or competition if you want, as an amateur film, just as a home movie for my friends. And then when the doors to the veranda opened, and they gave me a chance to finish it as a movie which can be released in the theaters. Then I needed, to do a little fixing of the. It's half documentary really, but we wanted to give it a little bit of a plot, so I called on Ivan Passer because we were together. He was 2 years younger, or 3 years younger, in this school in Poděbrady, and we both, loved theater and films and talked a lot about it. So, he then also attended the film school. So I called him in, and while we were talking about this, I don't know who, somebody informed me about a book which was written by Jaroslav Papoušek, but was not published, was rejected by the publishers, and that I should read. And that's how I met Jara Papoušek. It was a book about, more or less autobiographical, about him in 1945 as a young kid, and so we, and it was such a fresh, wonderfully true book that I took it to the studio, and they allowed us to work together on a screenplay. Now, our inspirations, strangely enough, were not the greats of the cinema. Yes, we loved the movies by, John Ford, Charlie Chaplin, René Clair, Marcel Carné, you name them all. No, our inspiration was a reaction to the stupidity of the films created by this period of so-called socialist realism, which was everything was so fake, so untrue, so propaganda-oriented, that we just wanted to bring, our truth, subjective truth, and objective truth, real people, real faces on the screen. We had some inspiration, especially it was the Italian neorealism, De Sica, De Santis, Latuada, and all these guys. And at the same time, the news were, filtering in about the French New Wave, sort of cinema verite style, which we embraced enormously because it showed you were real people on the screen. What we would like to do is to, yes, use the cinema verite, but to tell the story, not just to document the life in the streets, but tell the dramatic story with it. Loves of a Blonde was a film expressing compassion to all these desperate people trying to go through the life in a totalitarian regime. The idea started when I was walking home one night. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning in Prague, and I saw a girl with a suitcase walking. And it's interesting because just by the way she is walking, you could read a lot. You could see that she's not rushing home from late work. She's not rushing to be, not to be late on the early morning work. She is somehow killing time, seemed to me, and yet on the other hand, obviously the way she was looking, on her shoes while walking was clear that she doesn't want to be approached, or she's not soliciting anything. And I started to talk to her, and after a while she gained the confidence. I found out that she's from a town where are working possibilities mainly for, mostly only for women. The result is in that small town in the northern Bohemia, 90% of their inhabitants are women. And a lot of them young girls working in the factories, shoe factories, and they are in panic. And this girl met some engineer there who came there for just one day, and she fell in love with him because he was looking at her, and they ended up sleeping together that night, and the next day he left and gave her the address to visit him in Prague, so she came to Prague, only to find out that that address doesn't exist. And so that was the nucleus for, Loves of a Blonde. The main female protagonist in Loves of a Blonde is Hanna Brejchová, she's the sister of my first wife, Jana Brejchová. Jana Brejchová, who was already in the time, very, very well known and loved actress in Czechoslovakia. And I knew her little sister, for a long time. And I knew that she can do it. The father of the boy, he is the uncle of the cameraman, Miroslav Ondriček. The mother of the boy, that was very interesting. We were riding one day streetcar to go to work, to my apartment, and me, Jaroslav Papoušek, and Ivan Passer, and we were talking something, I don't know who said some stupid joke, and the woman sitting next to me in the streetcar started to laugh. So we turned to her, and she started to apologize, and that she just loved the joke like that. And we started to talk to her, and she was so alive that 2 minutes later, that was the stop where we should go off. I asked her, "Please come with us, come with us, come with us. Come. Why? Let's do a little. Do you want to be in the movie? Me in the movie? Yes, you can be in the movie. You are kidding." And she followed us, and we did a little reading with her, and she was like a machine gun.
A teď si představte náš Míla tedy, no tak on ty peníze vydělá, no tak ten hmotnej, tu záruku by do toho manželství, ale to není všecko. Teď potřebuje taky ženu, aby trošičku se o něj starala, aby mu to uvařila všecko, no. Když ty peníze přinese, podívejte se náš táta, když on dělá 30 let a nemá ty peníze, co vyděláte náš Míla. Podívejte se, jak je udržený chudák.
What I liked to do was not to give them the script, especially to non-professional actors, because you give Mr. Šebánek the script, and he goes home, "Yo, show me, Ukash, what is the script? What is the script?" And you end up that their wives are directing your movie, because they tell them in front of the mirror they will start to practice and rehearse, and the wives or the sons or daughters are correcting them and like that. So I didn't give them scripts. What was wonderful for me experience wise was that I come on the set and I tell them, okay, so now listen, you are here and you are there and you say something like this and this and this and you say something like this and this and this and you do something like this and this and this and that it will end up something like this and this and this. And you know, they remember a little bit, but not every word. Okay, let's do it. And now they have to do this, which they just could barely remember the ideas, what they have to touch upon in their own words. And I'll tell you, 50% times, it was better than what was written on the page. Because they were using their own language, which corresponded to their personality, to the way they talked, and they felt comfortable in it, you know. It's a very interesting difference between a professional actor and non-professional actor. Non-professional actor is not at all camera shy. He's audience shy. He doesn't like being watched by people. But camera is an object. He doesn't mind to give himself, you know, strip his soul naked in front of that object. He minds to do it in front of live people. Professional actor is the other way around. They love the audience. They are playing to the audiences. The camera is intimidating. The camera doesn't laugh. Camera doesn't express enthusiasm for them. They, you know, they don't like it very much. So it was very interesting. And mixing professional and non-professional actors helped both. Vladimir Puchot was very professional only by training. He went through the drama school for actors. He acted in 1 or 2 films before. But deep down, he was so non-professional actor, which showed, you know why? When he was at the peak of his popularity, he couldn't walk in the street without people. And you know, you must understand one thing, in those times, communists didn't like stardom. They didn't like anybody to be more known than the politicians whom the nation should love. You know, they didn't like nation-loving actors, you know. So that was something, you know, to gain the status of a star. At the peak of his career, he suddenly arranged somehow to leave the country, went to England. For 3 years, he was washing windows, floors, while studying the English to do the high school diploma. Then he kept washing windows and studying another 9 years to become a doctor. So deep down, he was not an actor. You know, with Mirek Ondřiček was probably the ideal collaboration for me, because we were so much tuned into the same visions that I was not even aware of working with him. It just went, it went so smoothly, everything, and there were not tantrums on the set, and was, you know, and I'll tell you also, sometimes limitations are very beneficial for a film, because we had so little money, so we had to film very fast. We didn't have, you know, unlimited amount of days for shooting, and so especially when you are working on the crowd scenes, you didn't have time to, you know, rehearse perfectly every moment and every motion of everybody. So very often what you did, that you just provoked some kind of a general anarchy, you know, and in that anarchy, you know, the camera has to wander around, and it all gives such an authenticity to the scenes and life. And it's because we just didn't have a time to rehearse enough. What we like to do also is that to use 2 cameras and to tell people that, okay, this one camera will follow, of course, the main protagonist, you know, who is center of the scene. But the other camera, I told everybody, will be wandering around, and you will never know who is on. So please stay in the character all the time, all the time. And that's wonderful, because it's helping, first of all, it's helping the main protagonist, because he doesn't feel that the whole concentration is only on him or on her. So he didn't feel that pressure, right? Plus, on the other hand, the fact that everybody else was in the character, even if they were just extras, you know, that they were not sort of laying back. I'm not on the camera, so I'll just, you know, stay here and watch the actor. You know, that helped the whole relax everybody, and mainly relax the main actor. Loves of a Blonde was a big success. You know, commercially in Czechoslovakia, I think it was the second most successful film in the history of Czech cinema, and it was very successful abroad. It was invited to New York Film Festival. It had a wonderful reception, and I guess that somehow influenced Academy voters to include it among the nominations for the foreign language film, and. And I flew for the first time to Los Angeles, you know, and it was a great event for me. It was, but it was interesting because Marion Billings, who was the public relations for the American company who bought the film, you know, told me, Milos, listen, enjoy being here, but don't be disappointed because, well, you will not win. And it helped me. It helped me.